In this video, we're going to do a quick long-term review on the ever so hyped up WLbeast X mouse. And I know what you're thinking, yo Techne, you're incredibly late to covering this mouse. But again, that was on purpose because I wanted to give this that long-term review since this mouse had so much hype around it. So putting clicks, likes, and views behind us, hopefully this take is able to help you out. So inside your box, you get your manual, you get some replacement feet, which actually come in different shapes, and you also get a glass set as well, your USB-C cable, the biggest dongle you have ever seen, and then of course your mouse. And one of the really cool things about this mouse are the variety of colors you can get it in. You know, old Techne is gonna have to go with the black and red. Now, the first area I want to start with this mouse is the shape. And yes, I am going to bust out the infrared camera as I do in all of my mouse videos right now, just to show you those heat contact points. Now, of course, these hot spots I'm about to show you on the mouse, and we talk about shape, that's going to differ person to person as far as hand shape. As you see right here, these are the dimensions of my hand. So right now you're seeing a WLmouse underneath my phone, again, going through the infrared right there. And this is just the stagnant temperature of it. But now I'm going to take it and put it in my standard grip. As you can see, my hand is significantly hotter, and that's the point here, is the heat from my hand will transfer down onto the mouse, and you can see where my grip points are going to be. I pretty much fingertip this mouse. It doesn't really hit me too much in the palm, and when I release the mouse right here, you can see those grip points right on the side, right down there, right on the other side, and then up on your 1 and 2 up towards the tip. Now occasionally I can pull my palm into this mouse down towards the back right there, but it is a little bit smaller if you want to do that. So if you got a small to medium hand, you might be able to throw this in the back of your palm to lock shots. But for a medium to large hand like mine, no, it is going to be a bit of a struggle. But if you do that, let me take my hand off. You can see where the heat signature is going to be, right where that hump starts falling right there. So clear as day, this is a fingertip grip mouse. Again, if you got that smaller hand, then maybe you can pull it in. But for me, it was definitely that flick and dip, dancing around fingertip style mouse. And I think many might be thinking Viper Mini or Viper Mini Signature Edition here. Well, honestly, when you get them in the hand one-to-one, the Viper Mini is definitely a lot more slender in the middle, right there on that middle grip point. As far as length, pretty darn similar. I would say that the WLbeast might feel a little bit longer, but again, it is clear as day a lot wider than the Viper Mini. And then you might be thinking the glorious Model O- compared to WLbeast, and same thing with the Viper Mini. The middle grip point right here with your thumb and your pinky is a lot more slender over here. Now, when you look at length, this is the interesting thing, because you can see the glorious Model O looks, or Model O- looks a little bit longer, but as far as where your buttons end, they're pretty much in the exact same spot. But getting each mouse in the hand to hand here, yes, the Model O- feels significantly smaller than the WLbeast. Now, a little different comparison here, talking about the Pulsar X2 V2. This is a size 1, the smaller one. As far as length, they pretty much feel spot on. As far as width, they feel spot on as well. But the X2 V2, the hump is clear as day, more in the back end there. As you saw in those heat signatures, we did not get that in that fingertip grip with the X2 V2, even a size 1. It occasionally hits me right up here on the top of the knuckles, when the WLbeast is pretty much flat up there, very minimal hump. So as far as the shape of the WLmouse, again, being a fingertip grip mouse, but when I was going through my mouse collection and trying to find that mouse that I can truly compare it up to one-to-one, it was kind of tough, because again, it had that Viper Mini type size, but again, it was a little bit wider, but it wasn't really Viper or FK style shape. It was a nice mix there. It's wider, but smaller. And that's really why I think I was able to enjoy and continue doing a long-term test on the WLmouse compared to, say, the Viper Mini, which is just clear as day too small for me. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what size is right for me. I just want to give you some examples, and hopefully all this is helping you out, because size will differ person to person. Now I'd like to talk about the build of the WLmouse. And yes, I am going to bust out the force meter as I do in all my mouse reviews now as well. And why I do this is because, again, as a reviewer, one person can be gripping it super tight, one person can be gripping it very mild, and then someone in the middle. So again, it's not really fair across the board. So this is right in front of your face. You're seeing exactly how much force we are putting on it. And what I want to do is bring the mouse up, because on the sides, I do get a little bit of flex. So hopefully you can see this here. Now I do have my grips on, but hopefully you can see that little bit of red mouse. I'm going to press it right here, and right before 1 pound of pressure, I'm getting a slight mild amount of flex. Now if we come over to the button side, right up here towards the front, again, it's the same thing, right at probably 2 pounds of flex right here underneath the mouse buttons. Now, of course, on the bottom being plastic, Right when I get to 4 to 5 pounds, it starts moving in. But if you're pressing your mouse on the bottom like that, you're using your mouse completely wrong. Now the rest of the body up here on the top, I can go all the way up to 10 pounds and I am not getting any sort of movement. It is incredibly solid. I hope these new tools implemented into my mouse reviews are able to help you out. I know a lot of people might be questioning why. Well, again, I wanted to implement some of those things that are a little bit more in your face rather than someone saying this or this or this. Again, you can clear as day see it. And talking about that little bit of flex I have on both sides here, it is more noticeable on the button side because that's where my thumb is. I got a little bit more strength there. I do notice it, but not constantly. It's really, say out of a 30-minute game session, I might notice it maybe twice. Now again, talking about this mouse being magnesium, except for the bottom here, as you see, I do have the grips, and if I can peel one of these back here, let me see, I've had these on since I used it, you can see it has those holes on the side, and I cannot stand those. It's on both sides here, so especially for my pinky, it would dip right in there, even with the grip. You can see right there, if I grip down, you have the indentation of those little slots. And the same thing over here, my fingers will just slide up with magnesium, being again, a little bit cooler, so it's gonna slide a little bit easier. It's not very grippy, but even other than that, it was just annoying because I would get those indentions right into my thumb if I'm gripping right here, as you can see, and then worsely again on my pinky. Now you also see I got the grips on my 1 and 2 because with that magnesium being down south, getting a little sweatier, it does get quite slippery. Again, there's not really much grip on this mouse being hot down south here. So using the grips on this mouse are an absolute must for me, as I just completely ruined mine. Now what I think could have resolved that is if they made these grips on the side maybe a little bit firmer, a little bit thicker, because they are very thin, grippy grips. But again, if they were a little bit firmer, I think it would alleviate any of that indentation even with the grips on. Now, as far as the buttons, before we get into sound test, one thing that was really interesting about this mouse is these 1 and 2 are right to the point. I mean, you press it down, bam, and you bottom out. It's not so much the switch, it's just really the build. And hopefully you can see that in the camera. You press it down, instantly you're bottomed out. There's really not much extra play or any give. So what I thought right out the gate, I'm like, well, these are kind of heavy. I'm getting like G Pro X2 vibes. Again, it's not the switch. It's just that when you press it, bam, it's right down to the point. And this probably took me about a week to get used to, because at first I'm like, all right, it's just feeling weird, you know, because it's snappy right down there. You bottom out and then you're right to it. So you got to get used to kind of that spam type of feel. And when you got used to it, it was freaking awesome. But now let me give you a quick sound test. And again, take into account that I do have my grips on my 1 and 2. And right in line with those very crisp, to the point 1 and 2, that's the exact same vibe I got with the scroll wheel as far as pressing it down, scrolling it, and also with the side buttons. I didn't have any flex, any give, any wobble. The buttons on this thing are pristine. Now let's go and take a look at the weight of the WLmouse, and I will compare it up to the other 3 mice we were talking about just for a reference point. But again, take into account I do have the grips across my whole mouse, and I did swap my bottom feet to the full coverage PTF ones. When I got it in, it had dots on it, but these are not the glass ones here. So slapping it on a scale, we are going to get 42.7 grams on that. Not bad at all. Coming over to the glorious Model O-, 64.2 grams. And wow, no joke, hand to hand, you feel the difference night and day. Now coming over to the Viper Mini Plus or Signature Edition, mine is painted, coming in at 49.5, and then the X2 V2 size 1, we're getting 51.8, and then back to the WLmouse, we're getting 42.7. Now many of you know I'm not a weight junkie. I can use a gaming mouse up to 70 grams with ease, but talking about the WLbeast being perfectly balanced here, really nice, even with my grips on, and coming in significantly lighter than the 3 other ones we tested here, it is just a dream in the hand. It feels like that nice extension. You definitely get Finalmouse vibes with it. And you know what? I forgot to mention, this feels just like that Finalmouse Medium that I recently covered. Luckily, I don't own that one anymore. But I have found a new passion for strawberries. Delicious. Now, the last topic I want to talk about with this mouse is going to be performance. And I think the only place we can start is with this massive dongle, which I honestly think is super cool. It lights up RGB all around it, which you can adjust. You got the screen right up here, which gives your battery, your polling, all that stuff. And I know many might be thinking, man, that thing is massive and completely unnecessary, but it's a nice take to get something like this rather than that regular old boring dongle you have. I really like this touch. I hope more companies start getting innovative and creative with their dongles. And we'll tell you, as far as 4K performance with this mouse and the battery life, it was absolutely flawless flawless, no hiccups, no delays, no stutters, no nothing throughout any of my time using it with a wireless headset, a wireless keyboard, or anything. It was absolutely spot on. And talking about in-hand performance and glide test, again, this will differ person to person how you have your mouse set up. As you see, I have those full feet on the bottom. These are not the glass ones, but again, they have the full feet. As far as my surface, I've been using the Lethal Saturn Pro, which is a little bit slower, softer pad. And then lately, my pad of choice has been the High Ground Black Ice Performance. It's kind of like a hybrid pad, but a whole lot smoother. You don't get that skin irritation. But anyways, taking a glide test and just flicking the WLmouse, I'm grabbing it right here in the middle and just flicking it. And you can see the front end starts gliding out and the back is sticking a little bit more. Again, this is a softer surface and we have those full feet. Now, if I do the same test over here on the High Ground Black Ice Performance, you can see it kind of glides, number one, a little bit faster and further with the same press here, but again, the back doesn't stick and the front doesn't slide out as much as over here on the Saturn Pro. But at the end of the day, that will really depend on what kind of surface you're using and what kind of feet you have on your mouse. Now, one thing I want to show you as far as these feet on the bottom here, which I'm not sure if the camera will pick up too well, you can probably see it a little bit right there if you look at that back skate. Look at the middle of that back skate. It almost looks brand new and untouched. But then when you come over to the edges, right there where you can see the light flare out, you can see a few more scratches there. The same thing goes for the front, if you can see it right there. Scratches along the edges, and then the middle looks almost brand new. And it's so mild that the camera barely picks it up, but these skates, they kind of dip down in the middle and then curve up towards the end right there. I'm not sure if that's something to do with the skates or the mouse itself, but again, it's really the edge of these mouse skates that's really doing all the gliding. It's not really that full surface. So we might be able to go the same route as we mentioned with the grips over there. I wish they had a little firmer undercoat, same with the skates over here, so they would be flat all the way across instead of just getting those tension points around the edge. But as far as performance and dailying this mouse, it was fantastic. And that rolls us perfectly into the conclusion of the WLbeast mouse, coming in at $140, which is not by any means cheap, but I feel like what you're getting here as far as your package contents, the cool dongle, the magnesium mouse, I feel like it is truly worth it. The one and only gripe I would have about this mouse, which really didn't affect me much, would be that mild amount of flex. And I have heard people speaking on socials that they have fixed that, so I'm not sure. This is my copy, is what I've been using. That is all I can speak on. So thank you so much for coming by for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help you out one way or another. And if I was, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.